Mexican security forces have captured the alleged cartel leader Ovidio Guzman Lopez, son of the notorious drug lord known as El Chapo. Authorities say 10 soldiers and 19 criminal suspects were killed in the operation in the city of Culiacan as cartel members trying to prevent the arrest. The city's airport was even caught up in the violence.
Terrified air passengers duck for cover as their plane comes under fire during takeoff. Outside Culiacan Airport, Ernesto Ramos captured the moment a Mexican Air Force plane was shot at.
My mouth is dry, my friends. I'm super nervous.
He and hundreds of others took shelter in the airport as the terror unfolded.
I was filming when the armed forces arrived here at the airport, and they were welcomed with shots. We tried to leave, walking towards a friend's house, but we couldn't, because they were shot and the plane had to take off again.
Unbeknownst to them, their city's most wanted man had just been arrested, unleashing a violent backlash. Cartel foot soldiers set up roadblocks and waged war on the police as they try to free their boss.
No loss of life yet, so what is being done? We have 7 state police personnel injured. We know that there are military personnel also injured. We are still working to control the situation.
Ovidio Guzman Lopez, known as the Mouse, was previously arrested in 2019. But in an embarrassment to the Mexican authorities, he was later released after the cartel did battle with federal forces. Authorities say his rearrest lands a powerful blow.
This arrest was the result of 6 months of reconnaissance and surveillance work in the area of influence of this criminal group. Where it was known, they carried out illicit activities.
Officials confirmed Guzman Lopez was flown to central Mexico. By nightfall, he was behind bars, transferred to a high-security prison outside the capital. His chaotic capture a major coup for American and Mexican law enforcement.
And joining us for more is Laura Carlson. She's the director of the Americas program at the Center for International Policy in Mexico City. Ms. Carlson, welcome to the show. There have been violent scenes since the arrest of Ovidio Guzman in the city of Culiacan. What's the situation now?
Right now, as mentioned, there are a confirmed 29 people dead on both sides. The identities have not been released. There could be more. There are many people that are hospitalized and severely wounded in the confrontations that took place after his arrest. There are at least 5 other Mexican states that are on alert, especially border states, that they're expecting something of a cockroach effect or the violence to spread over into their own states and are taking measures as well. It looks as though most of the roadblocks have been lifted, according to local reports. However, it's expected that the violence will continue. We know this because of the pattern of violence in other situations, similar situations, throughout the history of the war on drugs here in Mexico. When a drug lord is taken out in what's called the kingpin strategy, there's almost inevitably an uptick in the violence, both localized and eventually on a national level, as it causes a fragmentation, a remobilization of the cartel. It causes turf wars, and so we're actually expecting that there will be more violence to come.
He allegedly helped run the Sinaloa cartel for his father, El Chapo, who's, of course, serving a life sentence in the U.S. Sinaloa is the world's most powerful cartel. How big of a blow is Guzman's arrest for them?
We have to put this in the context. First of all, it's very important to mention that Ovidio Guzman, the son of El Chapo, is not a major leader in the Sinaloa cartel, and the Sinaloa cartel now has major rivals. It doesn't have the hegemonic strength that it had in Mexico in the past. And so this blow on the level of the cartel hierarchy is not the highest ranks. of the cartels. He's not the one who was calling all the shots. In fact, his older brothers are really in a far more powerful position, as well as other leaders that were left within the Sinaloa cartel. So in that sense, we don't expect to see an immediate dismantling or weakening of the Sinaloa cartel. In fact, when we look at the overall effect of an act like this, of the arrest of Ovidio Guzman, we expect it to be negative. Negative for public security and safety in Mexico, with no substantial or perhaps even none whatsoever effect on the flow of illicit drugs to the United States. And this is simply because this war on drugs model of taking out the drug lords while leaving the structures, including the huge demand in the United States, in place doesn't work. It never has worked anywhere. It certainly never worked in Mexico since it was launched at the end of the year 2006. And so we really, the many experts and those of us who have been studying this issue for years here in Mexico are not expecting a positive outcome from this arrest, unfortunately.
What do you make of the timing of this arrest? Because Joe Biden is set to visit Mexico in a couple of days.
I think the time is everything. The Secretary of Defense mentioned that they'd been working for 6 months on intelligence, but everyone knows where Ovidio Guzman was. He never left since his arrest in 2019. What we're seeing is that the arrest in 2019 was actually a success. He was captured, and it was the Mexican government that made the decision based on a calculation of widespread violence and the cost to the civilian population to let him go. The decision, in retrospect, was a good one. If you're putting priority on human lives rather than on this cat and mouse game between the cartels and the U.S. and Mexican governments over the past years, which, as I say, has led to no positive outcomes either in the trafficking of illegal drugs or in public safety in either one of the countries. So this was timed to be really a gift to Joe Biden. President Joe Biden has been a drug war promoter since his role as vice president. He has rejected public health solutions to the problem of illicit drug use and trafficking. And he's the architect of Plan Colombia, and he's been very firm in enforcing the same model, failed model, in Mexico and in Central America. So the Mexican government can now say, see, we're not soft on these cartels. We captured one of the persons who had, he had a $5 million reward on him from the State Department, and they'll be able to use that as leverage in some of the other negotiations. But it's not a good calculation for the populations themselves.
And Laura Carlson says that this is for show, but it won't change anything. Thank you so much for joining us tonight from Mexico City, Laura Carlson.
Thank you.